Hello, everybody. I hope all is well and I hope you can hear me just fine. I'm trying out another microphone today, so we'll see how that goes. But I should say that I am Demetra K, and the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, Big Giant, thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, like to say thank you to my moderators. You are the best, and I love you dearly. Today, we're going to do two things. We are going to talk about on the first half, Trump vowing to crack down on lawless thugs in Washington, D.C., and I'll show you what he said and all of that. Then the second half, Walter will be here, and he wants to discuss some things in regards to money and how we can get ahead. And he feels like, we aren't taking advantage of some things, financial things right now going on. So he wants to, speak with us about those things. So we got a, full show today. But in the meantime, let's see who's on here before I get started. Mike Nice, what's going on with you? Tracy, what's up? Candy, hope you're doing well. Troy, I hope you're having a great day. Diane, love, wisdom, what is going on with you? Sister, I said hi to you. I said hi again, Tracy. I've had a long day. Anthony, how you doing? Thank you so much. Moves, what is up? Said, oh yeah, our favorite queen is on. Oh, well, thank you so much. Let's see, Lady D, they used to call me that back in the day. Well, how you doing? It says thugs in the government. Uh-oh. Lala, how you doing? Carrie, hope you're having a great day. 48 TCO. He says, I seen the title and is Trump locking up MAGA? Y'all crazy. Nikki, how you doing? J Bubba says, I saw the title. This is the white version of Jesse Smollett stuff. You might be on to something. So we're going to get into it in just a second. Again, Walter will be joining us. It's gonna, I don't know, rain here. It said it's gonna rain, and that's weird because it just like came out of nowhere, but it doesn't look like it's gonna last long. So good, because y'all know how I feel about thunder and all of that. Well, not the thunder on this show, but the thunder outside. Al says, I say Switch did a lot of, oh God, Switch the group did a lot of whining. That's because you don't really know R&B like that. You used to that, new age stuff they got going on now. So you ain't a real one. But anyway, welcome. Queen Ambia, how you doing? Says Washington, the circus is coming to your town. Only one clown is performing. EW, how you doing? And who else is on here? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because like I said, we got a packed show. So, okay, what had happened was a couple of days ago, I guess, authorities say that two 15-year-old suspects, and we don't know who they are, although we could speculate, and I'll tell you why we could speculate in just a minute, were charged with unarmed carjacking, were among several teens allegedly who approached the victim, identified as Edward Corsentine, and a woman police identified as his significant other near a car around 3 a.m., Eastern time on Sunday. So this past Sunday in a Washington Logan Circle neighborhood. Now, Corsentine was 19 years old. He's young, right? The guy who's attacked. He's a software engineer, and he was amongst the most visible figures associated with President Trump's, Doge department under that of Elon Musk. Of course, their job was to slash governmental waste and things like that. He also had another name that they called him, and they called him that in Washington, right? I'm just going to say it because that was his name. His name was Big Balls. Y'all do with that what you want, okay? I don't know how big they were necessarily. But nevertheless, this is what was tweeted by Trump when he got wind of this. Actually, it wasn't even tweeted. It was on his Truth Social. And he said, crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youth and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, and maiming and shooting innocent citizens at the same time, knowing that they will almost immediately be released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law enforcement in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at the age of 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run the city how it should be run, and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. Okay, so let me go ahead and take that down because, okay. Now, it should also be said that crime is reportedly, I'm doing some things I ain't supposed to be doing here. I'm trying to remove this. Hold on one second. Now, crime is supposed to be trending down. They said especially 2024 when Biden and them were still in office. I think they said it's going down, but to the tune of 35%, although they did concede that youth crime is still kind of where it's at. And so I got to thinking, I was like, where have we heard lingo like that before? We've heard that before, haven't we? Sure we have.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And
I'm going to remove old Hillary. So again, we have heard that before, right? We've heard that from the Republicans and the Democrats. Now that goes along with that whole law and order trope, you know, of we need to bring in the law enforcement. Now, of course, he said he's going to federalize Washington, which means that he is going to take control on the federal level. Of course, Washington D.C. is its own state and all that, so it's governed and things like that outside of him. But he could do that. But the way he could do it is if Congress gets involved and they repeal, I think it's like a home something act. Don't quote me, but they have to repeal it to give him the control over it. Now, he could exact martial law if he wants to, as the military is under his control and things like that. But basically, it says, while law and order and tough on crime sound race neutral on the surface, they have historically been used in ways that appeal to racial fear. So we've heard that before. Tough on crime, make them heel, law and order, and all of that, right? We know typically when politicians speak like that, they are talking about us. Now, the tweet it was on Truth Social, did not say who they were, but they usually call Black people thugs, right? They usually talk real tough, walking real tall in regards to law enforcement when it comes to us, right? So I'm just going out on a limb and saying those youth, and you notice how he put it in quotation, those youth, because they don't see Black youth as actually that. That's a way of saying that they're adults, even though they're 14, right? It says they're as young as 14, they're going to be tried as adults and things like that. And listen, I want to say this. I'm not saying that they should be committing crimes if indeed that's what happened, right? I'm not saying that they should face some sort of consequence, but he wants them to pay like an adult. And it's not rare. They sentence young Black youth all the time as adults, right? Believe it or not, there are young Black youth who have been sentenced to life sentences here in America, even today, right? Now, of course, I could go back into history where the youngest in the United States, and I think even to this day, George Stinney was 14 years old, who was given the electric chair because he was accused of raping 2 white girls that, they found out was not true. And I think it was the Obama administration posthumously pardoned him, if you will. Like, what does that do for him or his family, But so they don't have a problem. They in the United States do not have a problem with make sure that they punish Black youth to the fullest extent of the law. But going on, so it says disproportionately harm communities of color. So those tropes of the law and order type thing disproportionately harms us. Because I saw somebody in there say about stop and frisk. Now we know, and I'm going to say this term for the sake of what it is, right? Because I know sometimes people get all uptight when I say Black and brown. But it's a fact that in New York City under Michael Bloomberg, that they came up with stop and frisk, and it disproportionately affected Black and brown men. So, in New York, they got Puerto Ricans, right? And a lot of them look black, and they are, for lack of better words. But anyway, I digress. There are some black men who said they've been stopped 20 and 30 times a piece under the stop and frisk, right? Rarely anybody else outside of them. Okay. Now it says it ignores the root cause of crime, likely poverty, educational gaps, and systemic racism. Okay. You know, where there is a lack of resources, there is a plentiful is what I'm trying to say, of crime, right? For a whole host of reasons. You know, one thing people ain't gonna do is starve, right? They need resources and money to take care of themselves. And the next best thing is who got some money in their purse. I'm just saying. Now it says today some lawmakers use these phrases sincerely with focus on safety, while others may still use them as political signals. Hey, white people, you're in danger, but don't worry, we got you. We're going to bring them to heel. Okay, that's kind of what I threw that in there. It says either way, the racial history of these terms make them controversial, especially among those who lived through or studied the real world impact. Right. So again, I just cited stop and frisk because somebody else did. So I'm going to say this. Okay. Again, they didn't say that the thugs were black or the minors were black, but I think between us, we know who they're talking about. And you know what? I hope if they are discovered as to who these 15-year-olds are, that they're not black. I would hope that. Now, I also want to say this. I want to know why Trump and Hillary, you know, or Republicans and Democrats don't go to Simi Valley. Have y'all heard about what's going on or what happened in Simi Valley, California? Where that black youth, he's 18, but I think he's still in high school or something like that. Nevertheless, he was jumped on by a group of white boys. And one of the white boys' daddy is in the Simi Valley Police Department. Now, there's a video and everything out about it. So there's no bones about what happened or, you know, confusion. And while they were whooping on that black boy who, you know, was like, and he cried, right? He was like, I thought I was going to die. I thought they were going to take my life and all of that. They were calling him all types of N-words, this, that, the other. And, you know, they got on the wrist. They were charged for something minor. And so, you know, there's a whole lot of people in Simi Valley, and everybody knows the history of Simi Valley, very racist. Very, very, sound like Trump, right? Very, 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 very racist. So a lot of people took to the city council meeting and was like, hey, y'all need to do something about that. We don't care that one of them is the son of the police officer. They damn near killed that boy, gave him a concussion, broke some teeth out of his mouth and all kind of stuff, right? And then they was even sending messages, voice messages to people talking about the N-word, woo, we gonna do this, that, the other. That they think they black low key, right? But I want to know, where's the law and order out there? Is he going to take control of Simi Valley and federalize that? Of course he's not, because, you know, So I just wanted to kind of point that out, especially with Hillary and Trump, because they all think the same when it comes to black people. So I'm going to get into the comment section in about 20 minutes or so. Walter will be on here. But in the meantime, let's see who else came on here while I was yipping my yapper. There's a whole lot of y'all came up on here. Ernest, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Jay, what's up with you? Frank, hope you're doing well. Tracy says, when they don't show a pale face. He says, when they don't show a pale face. And what do you mean by that? Because they didn't show any faces as of yet. Again, probably because they're minors, but I'm surprised that they didn't, since Trump went on labeling them as thugs. And, you know, Elon, he co-signed it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, they all co-signed it as well, which kind of makes me think that they're not anything other than black. Because, you know, especially with Elon Musk, he's a big time racist as well. And I couldn't see them trying to co-sign people that look like them being treated as adults and going away to jail for, you know, a very long time and all of that. But also, you know, I'd be remiss in saying and not saying this, that we know that Trump is not really favorable when it comes to black boys. Now, I know there's a whole lot of things around it, but the Central Park Five was one of them. Even to this day, he feels like they didn't do that. They're guilty. He feels like he was right for taking out that, you know, big ad in one of those papers, New York Times or something like that. in New York. He still believes that they are guilty, and sounds like they're also suing him for defamation because they were found to be not guilty. In fact, the person that did it was like, oh yeah, it was me. Of course, y'all know they were accused of doing something horrible to a white woman, and they even went to prison and suffered horrible things while they were in prison as kids, right? So anyway, let me keep on going. Asha, how you doing? I'm gonna skip down and then I'll catch back up. Asha, how you doing? Says dog whistle to enact some type of law. Yeah, as he said, we want the world and everywhere should be safe, right? Everywhere should be safe. Now, it should also be said that Washington D.C. was known as Chocolate City. I don't know if it still is, but anyway. Buckhorse, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says DC is here. Yeah, DC. Says Shalom. It says they got you started already. You know they did. Moose says it's just a front to get us to look the other way. Yeah, we ain't gonna look the other way. We know about the Epstein files allegedly that he may or may not be in, and sounds like Vance is supposed to be heading some committee, the vice president, to see what else they need to find out about the Epsteins. Like, quit playing with us, okay? Stop playing. Anyway, you crazy, Tracy, talking about, so when is Dorito going to jail? Maybe never, right? If he has his way, and then again, we don't know. Nikki, if I didn't already, I'll say hello and thank you for asking everybody to hit the like button. Easy E in the building. Hope you're having a great day. Margaretino, what is going on? Said it's not. He says, live and you live in DC, the kids are bad. So yeah, I have heard about the issues in DC and in most inner cities, right? There's a lot of, wayward children there and doing some things they absolutely should not be doing. So I'm not saying that they're not, okay? And again, I hope y'all did hear me when I said if they committed some crimes, they should be held accountable. But going to jail for a long time and trying them as adults, they surely don't try white boys as adults. In fact, a lot of them get off because they're affluent. They're too wealthy to go to jail. And they have done some heinous things. But oh well, they daddy, granddaddy, somebody. I told you about what's his name? I forget his name. Scott Hanna, the dude in Cincinnati who was plotting to take out 30,000 black people. His granddaddy a judge, and they gave him something like a slap on the wrist for plotting to take out 30,000 black people, and he was summoning other people to do it. In fact, there's also been some flyers gone out in Cincinnati. The Triple K crew, they looking, to recruit people because they said they need to, to do something with the black people problem there in Cincinnati. Anyway, Yanni, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Force of Nature, what's going on? It says, like, what the F? Lynette, how you doing from Montgomery? Did you celebrate yesterday? Did you celebrate August 5th? Lawrence, how you doing? Says, I'm surprised Trump noticed what's going on in Washington. He's so busy playing golf in Florida. Yeah, well, it's one of the staffers, right? He's 19-year-old staffer that was in Doge. That happened. So, of course, word travels fast. But I saw somebody say something about some Jussie Smollett. I don't know. Who knows? Stranger things have happened, right? I did see a picture of the guy. I won't show it here. But he's bloody pretty good. So he's saying he was jumped on, and sounds like they arrested some people. Remains to be seen, right? Nubian King, how you doing? Says the real thugs and gangsters are sitting in the black house. You said quote unquote right now. What thug had cocaine in their office and was never found? Crack down on your own thugs before you crack down on innocent blacks. So you talk about during the Biden administration where they found a little crack in the White House, and they said, oh, we don't know how that got there. And it's like, ain't somebody's son dealing with some addictions and got caught on tape with some crack. Anyway, zip, zoom. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Two Charles, what's going on? It says Congress would have to repeal home rule for Washington, D.C. in order for Trump to take it over. Yes, so they would have to do that. Let's see, skipping on down. Asha says, are they going to charge white youth? Come on now. They do not want to do that. What they want, they want to give them rehabilitation. They had a troubled childhood and they're on drugs and gosh, they just need rehab. But nah, black youth, you going up the river. Okay, you're going up the river for a very long time. I'm going to try you as an adult and we're going to keep you in there for a very long time. I don't know if y'all remember the story. It was about a black man. I think he was almost 90 at the point that they let him out, but he was sentenced to prison as a 15-year-old. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the oldest and longest serving prisoner in American history. He did 70 years of a life sentence that he was given at the age of 15. And, there's a lot of evidence saying that he didn't do it, but they didn't care. They gave him a life sentence, got out 70 years later at 15. I'm just saying. Tracy said, I'm still waiting for the Dorito to be charged like an adult. You crazy. Sister Shirley, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Victoria, how you doing? Says, all I know is Simpsons 2025 prediction got Trump in the casket. You better stop. I'm writing with God, then the Simpsons. Well, they've been saying that a long time. I don't know how accurate any of the Simpsons stuff is. Tahada, how you doing? Says, you say brown, but their ID says white. Well, for the sake of statistics, they say black and brown. Okay. And that's what the statistics were out of New York City, right? So I know what you're saying, though. Mr. Mystical, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Accountability to truth, how you doing? Says, this white man land, move back to Africa or start bitching. Hey, you ain't said nothing but a word. As soon as I get my coins right, I'm leaving here. I promise you I am. Okay. America ain't got nothing left for me. All right. Mary, how you doing? Says, that was Hillary. Trump did not say that. If the parents can't control their children, the parents can't control their children, then who can your comment is all jumbled, but they both said it. And I just played video and showed you. I'm not going to argue with you. They both said it. Anyway, Mike says, wasn't it attempted robbery? So which one are you talking about? I know I'm behind. I'm going to try to catch up. Yeah, Easy says, a lot of thugs in the suites in D.C. You ain't lying, including all the way back to the forefathers, right? All right, who else? Veronica, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kevin says, Simi Valley is known for being a racist community. Most of the white LAPD cops live there. Oh, yeah. And that's where they wanted to move the Rodney King trial. If I remember right, they did move the Rodney King trial there because they knew the dynamics, right, or the demographics of Simi Valley was very racist. And so they felt like they would get more of a favorable outcome there. Yes, they did. All right, moving down. D, how you doing? It says, shouldn't that be a hate crime, beating him up and calling him the N-word? Yeah, they all that's on the investigation. Of course, now we're talking about Simi Valley. All that's on the investigation, but when it's us, they know right away, right? But yeah, come on now. There goes that theory of, the hate crime bills benefit Black people too. Whenever we get caught the N-word or whatever on video, they got to wait and see and look and see and all. But let you as a Black person say something about an Asian, it's going to be on and cracking, which is why they got the hate crime bill. That's why they got the hate crime bill, because they told them that we was the boogeyman. And it was unanimous all through Washington to make sure that they get a hate crime bill. But you can be called 11 types of N-words on video, and they going to wait and see. Punette, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brian, what's going on? Says, bring out the National Guard. Well, I mean, he's not the first time he's talked about the National Guard. Now, of course, he didn't say it there, but he could. Of course, we know where the Rodney King, the George Floyd protests were going on. He talked about bringing out National Guards. He even talked about it, of course, with ICE out there in Los Angeles, but he is not a stranger to invoking the National Guard. So, yeah. Who else do we have on? Brina, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Jersey Rick, thank you so much for the membership. Love and appreciate you for that. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Who else haven't I seen? Tahada says, DC has changed since I was there in 98. Oh, I imagine. So, Margatina, you say 12-year-olds carjacking people. Yeah, they've been doing that, right? That ain't nothing new. And we know sometimes it's our youth, right? All over, not just Washington, D.C. And that does need to be addressed, right? Sounds like they need something to do other than that, right? And I'm a big proponent of get your kids out the streets. Get your kids out the streets. They ain't got no business being in the streets at 14, 15, and 16. No way. Do you know where your children are? There was an old ad back in the day that says, I think it's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the evening, do you know where your children are? And I still think that's a great question. Always know where your children are. Mike, it says Vance out here talking about UFOs, more distractions. Yeah, those are distractions, but there are really some UFOs out there for real, for real. Uh, Veronica says, I live in the inner city. A 19-year-old got stabbed the other day. It's very sad. Yeah, I mean, but with that, who who's over the inner cities most of the time? Black politicians, right? Most of the time it's a black politician in inner cities. We elect them and they neglect black everything and go help everybody else. So some of that is on us. Some of that is on us. We need to get other leadership in there. But, even with the political leadership, we need to lead our own children or whatever the case is. Bring your home. Okay. Because when I was coming up, we had to be in before the street lights. We didn't have no pagers. Well, not until I got like in high school, whatever. But we didn't have pager cell phones or none of that stuff. You just knew that when the street lights came on or you had a certain time to come back home, oh yeah, it's your responsibility to be in the house. He wasn't allowed to just be hanging out all times of night and just come on when we want to come home. Now bring yourself in the house or there will be consequences, right? We need to get back to that. Brother Damon, how you doing? Hope that you are doing well today. Skipping down. Brother Don, how are you today? Ambassador of Jesus Christ, how you doing? Tracy says, have y'all heard of the white guy that killed his ex-girlfriend, whole family, but spared the baby? Yes, I did. They caught him, right? And they said it was some Latino that was doing lawn care or something, saw him in the woods. And they was like, yeah, he looked kind of out of place in the woods. And he called on him. And, there you have it. RY, how you doing? Says, what's happening in Simi Valley and DC? Hopefully by now you've heard the explanation. It'll take me too much time to explain it all. Meshka, how you doing? So that's why those interracial married are sabotaging themselves. I don't know how melanated people can be with the enemy, knowing they are going to take you to the cleaners and go right back to their community. Some melanated people are seriously mental. Yeah, we've heard of stories of their wealth, especially with like athletes and things like that. Their wealth going to their significant other when it doesn't work out, or somebody like Shannon Sharp who was sued for $23 million because that woman said that he did something to her, but she didn't call the police, but she called a lawyer. Aaron, how you doing? Says they can make a bloody scene with Al. Not sure what that means. Felontavius, how you doing? Says I'm sure summertime's a cause. Yep. They say oftentimes when it's summer, they don't have anything to do. So they kind of just like roam in the streets. But back in the day, we went to the Boys and Girls Club, which my daughter says that they still exist. I don't know. Guess so. But they were like everywhere when we were coming up and they were free. We had somewhere to go. Dee, how you doing? Says, have you seen the Central Park 5 Guilty or Innocent? It's on YouTube, but it does paint a very different picture. Oh, yes. Trust me. I know that the media and everybody painted them as they were guilty. So in a sense, I could see why Trump thought that they were guilty, because the media, everybody was Democrats, it was Republicans, everybody was in on these 5 kids being, guilty. Even though there was a lot of evidence to say they didn't do it, the media ran off with they did something to this white woman. Now, it should also be said that Linda Fairstein, who was a Democrat, she was the prosecutor at the time. She donated to a whole lot of Democrats, even I think Obama and Biden. Don't quote me, but definitely one of them, Hillary Clinton and all of them. They were Democrats, but nobody said nothing about her. She's a Democrat, and she's the one that led the charge on lying on them. So they talk about Trump and the ad that he took out, and they should, especially now that he's saying, well, I still think they did it, even though it was proven that they didn't. They were all in cahoots. So yeah, I can see why the narrative was totally against those boys completely. And the brother that's now he's a councilman in Harlem. Forgive me, his name escapes me. You guys will remind me. He says, yeah, they was even taking bets on what was going to happen to them when they got behind bars. Some kids. And that's another thing too. Especially them folks, they always like to talk about people having a manhood taken in prison. It's so, like, do tell. How filthy are y'all? Talk about somebody, y'all can't wait till you go drop the soap. Why are you so interested in somebody dropping some soap? Why? Because you like to see people drop the soap, or you like dropping the soap? Let me shut up before I get in trouble. Anyway, Walter will be on here in just a second. Beverly, how you doing? Def, what's going on? Well, thank you. I appreciate you for that. Nikki, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for the donation. And we do have ways to donate to the channel if y'all want. But at the very least, please like and subscribe. Kenneth, how you doing? Says every other race has been trying to take out blacks. You can't see. I mean, said you can't. We so you're saying you can't. So we, God's chosen people, Shalom, black first, we won. Absolutely. All right, on down to the bottom, deep South Alabama. Indian, how you doing? So this is not white land, and this is black Indian land. Oh, it's definitely not. Their land is in Europe. That's a fact. That's not even something that's made up. So totally. You crazy, Damon. I just read your comment. Tracy says they call us ends all day and show our murders on social media like it's another show. Yep. Okay, Asha says, I'm curious to know what constitutes a hate crime when it comes to us. What do they have to do to us to be charged with a hate crime against us? I mean, hell, even if they take our lives, they're like, well, was it hateful? Did they call you the N-word? You know? Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate that. It's an easy hairstyle, I should say. Jay says, Minister Farrakhan also warned our people back in 2017 when he said, I've asked you to straighten up your act and clean up your act for over 3 decades. He's saying the army is coming. You know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I actually covered this particular story on African Diaspora News Channel. Was not out yet. It will be probably sometime this weekend or next week. And this is what he said during that Savior's Day address. And he was actually talking to Trump, right? But during that, like you said, he was admonishing us. But he said to Trump, you can come, bring your army, but if you slaughter my young brothers, watch what God will do for you, Mr. Trump. And for the country that you said you want to make great again, that's not going to happen, Mr. Trump. America will never be made great again. So absolutely, that's a good speech to watch, Savior's Day 2017. But yep, he sure did say that. So yeah, but Farrakhan has been ringing an alarm for a long time to us as well, right? He's very good at admonishing Black people and the stuff that we do. So yeah, he has sounded alarm, and he basically said, yeah, they coming for you. You better straighten up, right? And we're here. So Farrakhan has not told one lie. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna bring Walter up in just a second. Laverne, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sherry, what's going on? He says, I live in Indianapolis, and my cousin is not going to mention his name as the Black politician over my state, and he worried about the illegals. Okay. Avenge your ancestors. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, indeed. Peppy P, how you doing? He says, yes, we elect, they neglect. Yep, and we got to stop doing that. And in the words of Eric Mans, you got to stop doing that. Diane says, why didn't Trump call the National Guard when those clear people came in our Black neighborhood in Ohio? Yeah, they don't act like they don't see that at all. And again, like I said, they dropping flyers and recruiting for the Triple K crew. They want people to come on out. I saw where some brothers was like, yeah, we're going to show up to that meeting. I covered that as well. It ain't out yet, but y'all see it. So yeah, they're going to show up to the meeting. All right. Who else? Lucky me. How you doing? It says even Halle Berry, but Mary J. Blige too, and she married a brother. Well, Halle Berry's with a brother right now. I'll be chill. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. She is with the brother, Van Hunt, which I love. Ban, how you doing? Says young Black men have forgotten about their ancestral history and their creator. Now they will pay the price. Well, we hope that they don't. We hope that they change their ways, right, and get some knowledge of self, which is also something he was talking about. He being the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in that, getting some knowledge of self. Jay McClinton, how you doing? Says even after those kids were vindicated, Trump still thought they were guilty and should be punished. Yeah, even to this day. Zenobia, how you doing? Says I know someone probably said this already, but they need to start with the thugs in the big White House. Yes, they said first they will have the main ones start with the top. Well, it's not if, it's when. If you believe God, then you believe that, you know, their time is up, and they know that. Uncle G, how you doing? Says I wonder what they'll do about the mass pew pew in Fort Stewart. So yes, there was a mass pew pewing in Fort Stewart by, it sounds like, a serviceman, and he was Black or is Black. Pew pewed, if you will, 5 servicemen that they all live, thank God. Yes, they said they're going to wait to see what the motive is. I guess they were his co-workers, and he used his own firearm, if you will. But yes, he appears to be a Black man, the one that did the shooting. So yes, scratch a lie, tell it, find a thief. That's funny. Says I was living in New York then, so I remember exactly what went down. Yeah, and it was all over the news. You know, I'm from California, and we heard about it. Hey, Miles, how you doing? Copper Aboriginals, how you doing? Says the media is paid off to write that crap and say that crap when it comes to our people. Yeah, because it makes a lot of money. Money moves. How you doing? Says Trump is going to be sending Americans to alligator Alcatraz too. Yeah, well, there's a lot of Americans already in something like an alligator Alcatraz. It was Americans in the real Alcatraz. Yeah. Big Papa, how you doing? Says, look in the mirror, Trump. Marcellus, how you doing? Says, yeah, why they love saying that. Okay. Skipping on down because I want to bring Walter up. Walter's going to be talking to us about ways to make money. He says that we are not taking advantage of some things that are going on now. Hey, Yokoba, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Synovia, what is up with you? I got to the bottom. Guess what? Yeah, Miles, you know me. Anyway, Walter, how are you?
Oh, my mic was muted.
That's
No, I'm
okay.
good. I'm just sitting here listening.
So, as you guys may or may not know, and a lot of you guys are new here, and a lot of you are triple OG like me. And of course, y'all know that Walter is what we call our resident money guy. He teaches us how to get to the money. And I should also say, for those of y'all who are new, Walter, don't bite his tongue much, although I would like him to. Y'all think I'm bad. He's probably, well, I don't know what to say, worse. But he's going to talk to us about some opportunities that we are leaving on the table and how we as Black Americans could take advantage of it. So, Walter, how are you doing? Hey, Brother Reggie. I see, Brother Reggie, why you ain't come on here when I was talking? Anyway, Walter.
That's funny. What's up, Reggie? No, I would just been just kind of taking out the show, and I was seeing a bunch of stuff, just kind of following the news when I get a chance, and I see there's been a lot of talk about this big bill and some of the cuts being made to like Medicare, Medi-Cal. Then there's this whole thing with the illegals, them being deported the way they are. And the question I was asking is, who's filling those jobs that they left? And then when it comes to like the Medicare and all the stuff that's being cut, I'm just curious to why people are spending so much time talking about Medicaid, not Medicare because Medicare is safe, but like talking about Medicaid when they're talking about people that, have 2 arms and legs that can actually get up and go to work. So I'm trying to figure out what the big deal is. Like I saw this one thing where they were going to cut people Section 8 after 2 years and make them renew every 2 years. And I'm just thinking, damn, if you got Section 8 for 2 years and 2 years you can't figure it out, then I don't know, one point we got to become a better people. Damn, I just got here. I'm sorry, but you on Section 8 for 10 years? That's your fault.
Can I ask you a question? When you say you on Section 8, who's on Section 8?
I'm just talking about people in general. I'm not talking about race. I'm just talking about the world, everybody that's on Section 8. I'm saying if you're on Section 8, because if you're on Section 8, you also get food stamps, health care, you get everything. So, and I know in order to like replace all those benefits, you got to make like 40, 50, some depending on where you live, like 60 grand a year in California just to get those benefits. My health insurance, if I was just doing my health insurance like on my own with no income write-offs and none of that stuff, subsidies, I'd be at $800 a month. That's not including copays.
Walter? Hello? He went black. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't know what happened to Walter. We'll see what happened to him if he comes back. I don't know if his phone died or what happened. But anyway, I'll continue on. I'm going to just read some of y'all comments. And Copper Original, you said they can't cut Section 8. Trump just lost that case. So that must be something very recent that took place as of today or yesterday. The last time I heard, of course, it's in the big, beautiful bill that they signed into legislation on 4th of July. As a matter of fact, that's supposed to have all these cuts. Section 8 is one of them. Public housing, Medicare, and food stamp, all kind of stuff, right? Now, allegedly, it's supposed to help the wealthy. It remains to be seen. It will come into fruition next year. So I never heard about that until today. Kenya. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't, but how you doing? Said it's not that these jobs not keeping up with the pay. Oh yeah, most definitely anywhere here, right? The jobs ain't. Okay, so you got a whole bunch going on. Let me remove this one.
Yeah, did you? Oh, my camera shut off. Lord have mercy. Okay, go for it.
Didn't do nothing. So yeah, you're right. Jobs aren't keeping up with the pay. Well, I say it this way to kind of make sense to me is that the jobs aren't paying a livable wage in most cases, right? We know the cost of living is stupid high, no matter where you live. And we know that the minimum wage on national minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. You cannot survive anywhere with $7.25 an hour. Of course, those jobs are really meant for children or people in high school. But we see a whole lot of adults talking about welcome to Taco Bell. May I take your order, right? Especially if you're living in somewhere like California, where I think it's $21 an hour or something like that, in fast food. So yeah, that's part of it. I see a lot of y'all talking about get the illegals out. Okay, well, Trump is working on that. But of course, it says I pay market. Give me the Section 8. Should give me some Section 8. Just give me for like 2 years. That's all I need is 2 years, right? So I can get on my feet. FM, how you doing? You stupid, Tracy. Talking about is it the same internet as Donovan? They might be on the same internet. Brother Reggie says that Y2K 25 virus got him something. Miles said seems like he didn't pay his internet health insurance was probably too much.
I hope that ain't the same Miles we related to.
It may or may not be. I shall not confirm.
Oh, I'll back him up. So the point I was making is there's been a lot of government help, a bunch of it. Even during the pandemic, a lot of us got PPPs and all this stuff. I just think if you're able-bodied, there's no reason why you can't get on your feet and make it happen, especially in 2 years. I mean, if you're in your 40s, you got 2 arms and legs, and you complain about your Medicaid being cut, that's your fault. I mean, at some point, we gotta get moving. And I think as we need to be more aggressive, especially talking to the men on here, we need to be more aggressive. I mean, we letting our kids and our people get away with way too much. There's no reason. There's 24 hours in a day. You only need 8 hours sleep. And I'm trying to remember the last time I slept 8 hours, but let's just say you need 8. That's still 16 hours. What the hell are you doing with 16 hours a day? I just zero excuse. And I get tired of hearing people say, oh, it's Trump, it's this. And they know it's you. You are lazy. That's all there is to it. And I think if we just get to the point and be real, a lot of these things that we complain about will disappear. It is too easy to make money in the United States of America. The difference is you just have to stop, find something you like, and you got to put in the time and do it. That's all. I mean,
let's address this question here because I hear you saying a lot of stuff, and it's funny because I had the same conversation with Donovan about a week ago, and it was a conversation. Kenneth, how you doing? It says Walter, I'm retired welder and I make $2,062 a month. I mean, I don't deserve that. So he basically saying he was born in 1959, so he doesn't deserve. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to tag some stuff on there. Potentially, or Medicare.
Don't deserve what? Don't deserve the pension or
Medicare, a Section 8 or any of that?
Well, no. So Medicaid is for people with disabilities or who are unable to go out and make money, or people that are lacking some sort of basic skill to go out and take care of themselves. That's what Medicaid is for. Somebody that worked a job and got a pension is getting a check. That's the goal. You work, you get a check from the company. Now, what I would say, if you're getting a pension and you have a pension and you're able-bodied, I say go out and go add on top of that, because if you got a pension as a welder, then you're probably going to get Social Security too, and then Medicare, which is coming to you, right? But if you are 55, retired as a welder, and you still have time in you, you don't get Medicare to 65, so you got 10 years to go out and make it on your own until those benefits, and then Social Security kicks in between 62 and 67, depending on when you were born. So if you're getting $2,000 a month, all you got to do is add on to it. And then those other benefits will kick in later. Like me, I'm 55. I'll be 56 in a couple months. Well, Jesus, 4 months. So, and I know at age 62, I can collect Social Security, the minimum amount. So realistically, that's assuming I was just going to move to Thailand as a passport bro and just survive on my check. I got 6 years to make it work, save money, do what I got to do. And if I want to leave, I can leave and I can take that money and live for the rest of my life. But I have to do something in the meantime to fill that gap. So I hope that answers this question.
Yeah, so I want to address some things. And how you doing, JD the Truth? Boy, I read your comment, but I won't read it out loud. So yeah, some things in here. How you doing? Yeah, Section 8 doesn't necessarily mean that you are, and I'm not necessarily thinking you're saying that, but it doesn't mean that you're downtrodden and that you just sitting on it and waiting for the government to do A, B, C, and D, because true indeed, there are a lot of people who work and go to work every day who are on Section 8, but unfortunately, the jobs that they have or the income that they have coming in do not afford them the opportunity to pay for housing, right? So they need a little bit of help. But it should also be said that there's more white people on Section 8 than there are anybody. Now, public housing, that's a different story. There are more Black people in public housing and so on and so forth. But again, that don't mean that everybody is kind of sitting on their hands. In fact, fraud, I think they said, is reported to be about 1-2% reported, right? So that's
actually pretty low for fraud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but unfortunately, the tropes take over. Like, people work in the system, welfare and food, and most people who get food stamps, and I just kind of feel like I have to keep saying this. A lot of people who get food stamps are not just getting food stamps; they go to work. Do you know who the biggest benefactor of socialism in America is? Anybody?
Wait for the answer.
Walmart. At least they used to be as of recently, right? Walmart, because most of their workers are on some sort of welfare, whether it's Medicare, food stamps, housing, or something. They cannot afford to sustain a living just working there, so they get some sort of assistance. So that's why they say Walmart, again, at least it used to be, is the biggest benefactor, because, and they're, amongst the wealthiest. So we don't necessarily look at it in those terms. We go along with this trope, and I know where it comes from. Let's keep it buck. It comes from racism, right? And of course, they not saying you, but a lot of people talk about the welfare queen, right? They label her as what? A Black woman. She's sitting on her fat butt. That's what people think. But if you really do the research, it's not that. Most people who get those benefits work.
Well, no. I know a lot of people work at those benefits, and I know white people are the biggest beneficiaries of welfare. I get it. But my thing was this, as a universal to all people. Like, okay, so I know you said, and I'm going to go a little hard in the paint, and you can kill me in the comment section. What is the difference between me and you working and then stopping and then working our other job so we can pay our bills? What is the difference between me and you and that person that is working at Walmart but decides to go home and then sit in the front yard with moonshine or whatever and complain about not being able to make ends meet?
Okay, see, now that's where you go a little too far. And then you asked me a question, so I'm gonna just explain it to you best I can. Everybody ain't leaving Walmart going to drink moonshine in the yard. I used to work at Walmart when I was 21 years old, right after I had my daughter. My daughter was like 2 months old, 3 months. I worked there for 2 years until what? I was able to do better. I went on and got a better job, right? And I continued to do better. But the fact that I was there, I wasn't making a lot of money, but somebody got to work at Walmart. Let's keep it above.
Walmart, Taco Bell, wherever the job is.
If you eat at Taco Bell, who's going to give you your food? If you go to Walmart and check out, who's going to give you your food?
Right, but I'm saying, but they don't have to work at Walmart, Taco Bell. My point being, what's stopping them from doing something else when they get off from Walmart?
That's what I said. Okay, I used to work at Walmart, and when I was working at Walmart, I was working at Montgomery Ward. Hello, I don't want to tell you how old I am, but I was working at Montgomery Ward. I don't know why this thing came up on my computer, but I was working at Montgomery Ward, Walmart, and I started working at Frito-Lay. So I had 3 jobs. Why? Because Walmart wasn't enough. So I'm saying that to say, not everybody going home and drinking moonshine in the yard after work.
But you're not complaining about not being able to make it. You're going out and doing something about it. My
No, but,
question is to the
listen,
people.
yeah, I get hear what you're saying. And I don't mean to keep cutting you off because again, I think we blanking in this and we don't need to. So yes, there are some people, and I want to concede your point. The people who are able-bodied, I 100% agree with that. 2 years and you off, okay? Because even now, as we know, people who are on a lot of these governmental assistance for whatever reason, they could go to schools, a whole lot of things that they could get. Now, after 2 years, I would even say 4, depending on who you are, so you can get you some sort of degree. After that, you're gone, right? But and of course, he's not talking about kicking off seniors and disabled, but I think it blankets people who are trying and are having a tough go at it. That's a trope. Everybody is not rooking the system for welfare. It's just not the case.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole work to welfare thing, I don't know what happened to that. I thought back in the days that Bill Clinton or somebody put that in place. I like that idea. And I guess for me, as being somebody that works around the clock and just fights like crazy, I feel like, I know everybody can't do it, but you would be really nice is if somebody, I don't know if it's a leader or I don't even know who it would say, you know what, here's an idea. How about we put together a program we can work harder? I mean, there's days I don't want to do anything, but I know my life is going to suffer from that. And I live in California. Mortgages, rents, everything, grapes, bananas, everything is high as hell out here. So it is like insane. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know what you're saying. And yeah, there should be some things, which is why, too, we always say, quoting the Nation of Islam, we need to do for self, right? Marcus Garvey, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. But that doesn't negate that there are things that we have already done and there's things that we are doing, right? We never want to discount systemic and institutional racism because that is still a thing in 2025. But yeah, there are things that we could do, right? We give 97% away of our nearly $2 trillion. When I say our, I mean Black people here in America. So yeah, there's some things that we could do. But for me, I'm just not one of those. And I'm not saying that you're necessarily doing that, but I think we should be honest and correct in the things that we're saying, especially in regards to these, programs and stuff. But, people need them. And as I always say too, you're a senior. I think you should be able to get all of that, regardless of what your situation is. You become a certain age, I think that you should be able to get some sort of reduced housing. You should be able to get Medicare or Medicaid or whatever it is. Should be able to get all those things. You know why I say that? Because especially senior citizens, and I've said this before, senior citizens have worked their whole lives, right? And they paid into the system and everybody else is benefiting from it. Even 2025, all the countries are getting money from taxpayer dollars and a whole host of other things. And they still got to beg and scrape to get by. No, they shouldn't have to do that. There's a lot of other countries where they don't have to do that. And we should be one of those.
Well, that problem is those are our politicians. I mean, if you work till 65 years old and you're paying the Social Security hundreds of thousands of dollars of your lifetime, you should be taken care of. But those are the politicians people keep voting for. So, I mean, that ain't gonna never change until you get the politicians, the people to stop digging into the pocketbook. And that goes for Republicans and Democrats. I don't care if they're spending $200 million on the ballroom or $200 million on the Federal Reserve. All that. I mean, the problem is these politicians they're spending too much money. That's where most of the money is going. I know I have a lot of friends in politics, and I've been to so many wine and $400 or $500 dinners on my buddies that work for just local government. So I do agree. If you're a senior citizen, you should be taken care of. Because in most countries that I've been in, the senior citizens are not at work; they're being taken care of. But they run their countries differently. So a lot of that's on our politicians. But as far as you being young and able-bodied, that's on you. I do believe in being able to get benefits to get on your feet. But 5, 6, 7 years, if you got 2 arms and legs and, you can think straight. I know people have mental disabilities. That's really popular now. So some people, I know my friend, her son has schizophrenia. He can't keep a job because they don't know who's showing up that day. So I get it. You struggle with stuff like that. Yeah, those people should get benefits. But if you just smelling like weed and you complaining about, oh shit, I don't know. That's not cool. And we can be big boys and say you're a 28-year-old man and you smell like weed, but you complain about making money. That those two things don't go together. So, and I'll never apologize for saying that because I know I have to work, and I know as a kid I went to work. So, what's the difference between me and you having to go to work and work 12? I know when you hang up on this podcast, you're probably working on tomorrow's show, and
I still got things to do.
it's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock in Texas. So I think if we just focus on what can we do, and then where are all those, like the immigrants in California, they are, when I say they are gone, like Home Depot, you can actually park there now. I went to go do some, yeah, I'm crooked. I went to go get some help in my backyard to plant my garden. Man, it was nobody at Home Depot. I was like, damn, I had to dig myself. That was me at 2 a.m. digging up my garden. My point being, who is filling those jobs? Like my neighbor, he's 22, young kid, and he wanted to buy some flowers for his mom. I said, oh man, we can go to the corner. And I was like, you know what? They're all gone. I said to him, why don't you're a good looking dude. Why don't you go find out where they bought those flowers and you go stand on that corner and you sell those flowers? He was like, oh, hell no, it's too hot. I said, okay. All those cats are at Home Depot that are no longer there. We're the young kids. I could go say, hey, you know what? If you give me $75 for the day, I'll give you 4 hours and I'll help you move. Last time I checked, you didn't have to be Mexican to go to Home Depot and say, hey, I'll work for you for the day. I don't think there's enough people having that conversation. Like, for instance, even my housekeeper, yeah, she was illegal, but I didn't ask her for paperwork. She's per diem or whatever. But she disappeared. And she'd been cleaning my house for 2 years. I can't even get a hold of this woman. And I know she just bought a brand new truck. She bought her daughter a BMW. She bought it from me. And I can't even get a hold of her. So, which is why my nails are so black. I had to scrub my countertops today. My point being, where are the blacks, the whites, the Hindus, the Indians, the Chinese, the kids, or whatever? Where are the people to fill those jobs?
I mean, I don't know where they are, but I would venture to say, as I was saying too yesterday on the show about Trump was saying that they're going to think about bringing the immigrants back because the farm fields need to be tended to. That's what he said. And you say, I know that people in the inner city, they won't do it. You damn right. He talk about us. But the problem is a lot of people can't afford to do it. Can you afford to go pick some strawberries for 8 hours for what they paying the immigrants? Hell to the no. Can you afford to be, like you said, doing them jobs that they were doing? Nah, I can't afford to do that, especially if you're living somewhere like California, where the median price of a house, I think, is like $800,000. Where I'm going to sell some oranges and do that? How many oranges do I got to sell? How many flowers do I got to sell in order to pay a mortgage on an $800,000 house?
Well, obviously picking strawberries and being in an $800,000 house, those things don't go together. But what the immigrants were doing, the ones that I know, is they were just all living together. Like my housekeeper, I know there's 10 people in her house. My neighbors across the street, there's 7 adults in that house. And some of them work, regular warehouse jobs, but there's 7 of them. I don't know where they park, but there's 7 adults. My house my next door neighbor has 7 adults living in the house and 2 little kids, 9 people in a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. I feel bad. I'm over here by myself in the same size house, but they're making it work. So yeah, can 6 of you pick strawberries and live in a decent house? Absolutely. And I think we've gotten away from being able, and do you remember when our house on Olympia used to turn the corner, the Chinese people that was in that house with all the cots on the floor?
Yeah.
There must have been 20 Chinese people living in that house. You walk by, it smelled like Kung Fu Doritos. There was cots everywhere. But they made it work. So I think we say, well, how do you make it picking strawberries? Well, we all pick strawberries and we all get in this house and we get our lives together. I don't know of another way.
Yeah, you must have said that you had somebody, immigrant working for you. I see them taking you
I mean,
cap a little bit in the chat.
I, immigrant, whatever she was. All I know is I can't get a hold of her no more. You know what I'm saying? So what else? Why else? And she was Mexican. I don't want to. It just is what it is. Where did she go? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
you know where she went. She got the
She,
hell out of here.
well, what's happening is she's hiding right now. She's not wanting to deal. She's probably waiting for the heat to disappear. But where? Who's doing her job?
I mean, shoot, I've done her job before, but I ain't gonna do it for what I don't know what you pay her, but I ain't gonna do it for no peanuts. You got to pay me like you weigh. You know. Shan, how you doing? Says that they want more money for their time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if people really, Americans cannot afford to show up to get those jobs that they were doing because they're not paying. It costs you money, more money in gas to go to a doggone field in America to pick some damn strawberries. Black man, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Well, you know what? Hey, Jesse, just acknowledging everybody I haven't seen so far. Y'all know how Walter is. Walter gonna say what he wants to say. Damon says, "Ish Walter by any means necessary is off the hook in Little Rock, California, not too far from my dad." Easy says most of us don't understand group economics. Yeah, we need to understand that. That's the conversations that we need to keep having. Absolutely, yes. And I see a lot of y'all talking about the unemployment rate for Black Americans. It is high. It's higher than anybody's, right? At almost 8%. Absolutely. Skipping on down to the bottom, just bullish. He says those immigrant jobs are really for American youth. Yeah, they not for no grown people. Brother Reddy says, Walt, you about to turn that woman in. Shaw, how you doing? Says, I'm keeping it real. Some family members I refuse to live with. See, yeah. And that's the other thing. Wild Williams, how you doing? Sister B, hope you're doing well. A lot of other people like, I don't care. You get on my nerves, I get on your nerves, but we need to put this money together so we can buy up something, wash, rinse, repeat, right? They don't care. I tell y'all about the audio book. It's on YouTube called Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. And the Asians talk about how they do it. They say, we don't care if you don't like each other. We don't care if somebody's in the bathroom too long. We care about you going to work, bringing the money home, and then we buy a business or a house and we just keep doing it. That's what we care about. We know how to get along with each other long enough to keep the main thing the main thing. But I hear you, though. MC Fact said, who cares? She went find a Black person. Walter, yeah. A Black woman ain't going to do it for probably what she was getting paid, right? Karen, how you doing? Racial resistance. So he is fully Black American. Just so you know, street translation, how you doing? Says, come to Little Rock, Arkansas FBAs. We have our own farms here. Yes, there are Black people that have farms everywhere. Georgia is one of them that I know of. Copper, he says, exactly, group economics is versus selfish economics. Yeah, we got to put our idiosyncrasies to the side. Tidbits, how you doing? Says, I'm confused. Did we already do the multiple family living now? It's considered that's now that is considered that some are homeless. Yeah, we used to do it. Many people are getting back to that, right? The multi-generational homes and housing where you have a grandparents, the parents, the children, because people are coming to the point where they can't afford to live on their own. But that's what they used to do. People did, and they were doing just fine. Nowadays, people got these big monstrosity of houses, and there's one family living there when you can bring in, some family members to live there.
But what? A lot of it is too. We just need to be better human beings. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be delicate. I have 6 kids, and I know sometimes one or two of my kids have said, "Hey, Dad, I can move it with you," and I'm like, I'd be fine with that, but you can't bring your spouse, because we did things differently growing up, and I just
they can't bring their spouse.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like,
what are they supposed to do with them?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if it came to it, I mean, I said I was going to try and be delicate. Like, I would love to live with my children, right? And I talked to them about getting a big place together. or us building out our land, and it's all just was kind of far, but us just being together. I don't have a problem with being in the house with all my kids. It's just sometimes it's their spouses that would drive me crazy. And I think it just is what it is, right? But if the world came to an end, yeah, everybody'd be 12 or 14, 16, whatever of us. I would do it if we had to. But my point being, it would be nice to do that if people can just shape their world views of the way they see the world. Sometimes kids have too much stuff to say. You know what I'm saying? They want to do it this way. I think this way, but you can't afford to do it that way. So I think sometimes we just need to come back to center. We need to take care of ourselves and build our unit. That would make more sense for people to move in together and cut expenses. Because you can't sit here and tell me that Mexican people and Chinese people all get along and live together. They probably hate each other sometimes, but they still do it because I think the economic benefit is more than I can't stand this dude, but I'm gonna stack my money so I can get out of here. I think that would make more sense. And since we talking about us as Black people, I think if we could just focus on just putting all that other stuff to the side and saying, hey, we're going to make this work. All that other stuff, leave that stuff outside. When you come in here, we are trying to get something done. There is no reason why we as Black people cannot be on top of the totem pole financially. I don't understand why because this is, the Black, we're in a Black environment right now for the most part. I don't understand why we can't take the ball and get it moving. I don't really see a lot of, when I turn on YouTube and I see us, and not all of us, but a lot of us are crying that swing low, the Roland Martins and some of those idiots. And I'm like, dude, why don't one of you guys tell us to get your butt up, get to work? Here's some ideas how you can get going. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff I think would be good. Like, for instance, this candle I bought from I took my girlfriend to New York for her birthday, and I saw these two Black ladies selling this candle. It's called Spa Indulgence. You can go to their Instagram website. Sister girl and her niece. I spent $60 times 2 on some candles and some soap. And I know they were overpriced. But it's got coffee grounds, coconut oil. This candle, it smells good. My point being, she was out there in, I think it's Bryant Park in New York, Manhattan, and she had her own booth. And she goes, after this, I'm going to work. But I bought this candle from a sister girl and her niece. And we spent like 30 minutes listening to music. The guy next to her had tequila bar. We were taking shots. We were having a good time. But my point being, she created a fun environment, and I bought this candle from her. And I have a candle company. But I was like, I love your hustle. I love seeing my people work. We should all have something like this going. Hey, if your neighbor needs blueberries, you be the blueberry dude that sells blueberries. And I think if we as people can get back to that, there's nothing stopping us. Like, this is kind of weird, but I'll just show you real quick. My internet's actually working again. So I went out. It's crazy. I went to this farm store and I walked in, a young Black dude. Everyone looked at me crazy, all these old ladies. But my whole backyard, I don't know if you can see it. I got pomegranates, avocados, blueberries, eucalyptus. I mean, all that stuff. The lady sat there and they showed me how to basically, because I said, I want to grow my own food. I'm tired of going to the grocery store, dealing with pesticides. So I'm going to grow my own foods. We spent $500 on tomato plants, basil plants, pomegranate, avocado tree. I'm about to plant all that stuff in my backyard. And I know my neighbor in front of me, they have their whole wall is full of fresh cherry tomatoes. I know because I make salads a couple times a week with these tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? So they gave me permission to do it. My point being, what if somebody was like, I'm growing food and once a week you can come here and buy food from me? If my neighbor was selling all that stuff, I would buy it from my neighbor. we as Black people, I know we have skills. We can do stuff like that. We can do hair and all these other things. We can add that stuff to it. So I just
Absolutely.
I just think we need to be more creative because you guys, between, and I'm gonna say that loud, I'm gonna say this out loud, between Trump, and I don't mean that Trump is bad. I like Trump most of the time. Lately, I don't know. I mean, nah, he's still the businessman. So he's gonna do what he's got to do. They're all crooks, in my opinion. But between some of these policies in AI and what's going on, a lot of these jobs that we have are going away. I watched an ad for 15 minutes, and then I went, "This woman is AI." I thought she was real. And I had a phone call a couple weeks ago for about 5 minutes, and then I said something, and I got a slow response. I went, "Oh, I just spent 5 minutes on the phone with an AI bot." I got an email from Casey. I Googled the amino acids, perfect aminos. They sent me the wrong flavor. I asked 10 questions. This AI bot answered all 10 of my questions and said, "Hey, I'm Casey, your AI bot. If you need anything, reach out to me. If not, here's a human phone number." Those are jobs that belong to people that are never coming back. So I would be really focusing on what can I do for me and my family to survive, and what expenses can I cut? And I was watching Google's he's a brother too. Their former head of technology. You've seen it. The brother that ran Google. He goes, "You guys, it's about to get awful for the human race." And he said this on a Diary of a CEO. I watched it last night. So all this stuff that's going on in the media, and all these things we get sidetracked with, sooner or later, it's not going to even matter. I say we create our own, like I'm okay growing the food in the group, the family. I like to know where my food has been. I prefer to make mine, grow my own food. Yeah, it's a hassle, but you know what? Um, I like making my own stuff. Like my secretary right now went to the grocery store to get some sourdough bread. I said, make sure it don't have folic acid. Most bread do. Please don't eat that stuff. I said, I got basils. We'll do that. And I got the Wagyu beef, and I'll make lunch. But I'm growing the basils that we're using instead of spinach. And so you guys could all do that. Go get you some trees, some fertilizer. Yeah, it takes a little bit, but man, when you start picking your own food, there's nuts. I'm telling you, you will be empowered.
Absolutely. So anyway, Walter, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to have you on for the whole hour next time. 540D, how you
Life
doing?
was for rent. I don't know what that meant. Couldn't really say it, but
540D, how you doing? So the white man is about to, let's see, the white man is about to AI the human race out of existence. You ain't lying. You are
it's
not lying.
already happening.
It's not only that, but check it out. There's places. Memphis is one of them. I just saw a report on something somewhere yesterday. It's Mark Zuckerberg's plant, where these plants are actually harming people. Memphis, Elon's machines are letting off a whole bunch of emissions and things like that. Mark Zuckerberg's, I guess it fuels GPT and all that. It's for whatever reason sucking the water source from the residents that live near it, and they like have to fill up their water. It's a lot, right? So we don't talk about the human toll of AI. Everybody's like, yeah, AI is good. Is it? Is it good when we are eventually going to put ourselves out of commission and everything else in life, even, right? So that's the flaw with humans, though. We don't learn until it's too late. We say, oops, ain't got no water. Oh, these robots are just sucking out the good air and putting out the bad air, and they're taking over. That's when we start saying, oh, well, did we make a mistake? So I'm one of those people, I agree with AI to some degree, but the humans are just going to do what humans do and just F up the rotation for everybody until it's too late. But see, that's the rich. How can I get wealthier? How can I do this? How can I do? You're replacing people. What you think those people gonna do when they can't find a job? You're gonna have some AI correctional officers too? I mean, I'm just saying. So we have
and yes, we are going to have some AI correctional officers. It's going to be one guy. He was saying we're going to have AI podcasters. He goes, "Ain't no job," and he goes, "Ain't nothing safe." AI. Um, this one company I found, they got this Harmony doll. The dude was like, "We can't keep this doll on the shelf. It's an AI girlfriend. She stands in the kitchen. She got human skin, human hair. She got a human voice." Man, people rolling around with the
Yeah,
silicone and the coconut oil. It
okay.
sounds crazy to me. It
That
sounds. I mean,
will,
I've dated a girl that was robotic, but like, damn.
will she lock up on you?
I'm not saying this for me, but my point being, we can start adjusting for some of this stuff, or we can keep talking about like one thing I struggle with, and I'm just gonna say this out loud, is with me, I just follow the money. I don't care if it's white, black, because I know somebody made a comment, the white man is bringing in AI. It's actually the Indians are bringing in AI, the Chinese are bringing in AI. I think the white man is behind when it comes to AI. Like Asia and India, they are wearing us out. So,
Right.
and I'm
And guess
sure.
what? We all are going to pay for that. Now, I know people are like, it's for this, that. You do what you want to do with it. I try my best to stay off the grid as much as possible. I used to have an Apple Watch. Now I got an analog watch. Okay. So I'm really trying my best because I can see it all unfolding. But like normal, we won't, yes, Mad Dog, Total Recall, Terminator, right? We won't study history or any of that kind of stuff at all. And we just think everything's going to be okay. And something tells me that we're not. But listen, I want to say this, Sparkle to Firestorm, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. That is a hell of a donation. So it's much appreciated to everybody that's donated, whether you've liked, subscribe, and everything. Much appreciated. Every little bit helps. So I do thank y'all. I will be back here tomorrow, same time. It's going to be our Friday. As y'all know, I take Friday and Saturday off unless something absolutely popped off and I need to be on here, even if I got to put on my baseball cap, I will be here with you. So in the meantime, I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be a good conversation nevertheless. So thank you so much, Walter, for being here. Come back and join us next week if you have a chance. And y'all come back tomorrow. I want to see every last one of y'all here. Peace.